Morning, we are at Goodwood and we are looking at the new Defender OCTA. So we're going to have a crawl over it. There's lots of people about, so bear with me and we'll have a look at what some of the cool features are on the new Defender OCTA. So instantly you'll notice we've got this much bigger grille at the front and we've got this new designed grille here. I think there are some lights hidden in it here somewhere. When they launch this, there's going to be Edition 1. Now, don't confuse that. When they first launched the Defender, you had the first edition, but this is the Edition 1, which is going to be limited numbers. They're talking about 4,000 worldwide, and it comes in this unique color, and it also has some cool chopped carbon features. So let's look at those. So you've got the chopped carbon lettering here across the front. You've got these new vents. So normally you had the checker plate here, but now you've got this chopped carbon and this smooth gloss black. You'll also notice we've got this chopped carbon. Now, those of you that are sharp will have noticed this raised air intake is on the right-hand side. We've got this gold lettering. Now, if you look, this is really cool. So this has got the BMW M5 Monster V8 petrol 625 brake horsepower hybrid engine in it. And it does some crazy 0 to 60 time. So this is the fastest Defender ever made, and probably one of the fastest Defenders. I know some people have electrified them and modified them, but I think this is going to be one of the fastest Defenders, certainly the fastest production Defender ever made, which is insane. And we also need to bear in mind that the world is moving towards electric cars. Will this be the last big V8 petrol Defender? Anyway, let's look. So you'll notice we've got twin raised air intakes, which gives you a symmetry. And obviously I've just said we've got that V8 engine, so we've got the air coming in from both sides of the V, taking the clean air in and going in. I'll see if we can pop the bonnet and look at the V8-ness, although it's probably a lot of plastic. But let's keep looking around the car. You've got these monster, the whole car is fitted with this wide arch body kit. So you've got this massive, and it's wider and it takes these massive wheels, and you can put much bigger tyres on this. So these are the special release OCTA tyres at wheels, and apparently the tyres are developed specially, and it's got a 20-inch rim. You've got these gold coloured monster calipers inside. I think they're the biggest brakes ever fitted to this version. So you've got a lot of gloss black, you've got these spats going on here. Right, it's also fitted, while we're looking at the wheels, let's talk about the suspension. So on the new Range Rover Sport SV, it's got this new 6S suspension. So rather than having conventional anti-roll bars, it's got some hydraulic stuff that allows massive axle articulation, but also controls body roll. So they brought that over. Now, one thing I really wish they'd have brought over from the SV Sport is the four-wheel steering. So this is where at high speed, the front and back wheels steer and the car moves simultaneously sort of across the highway lanes. But at low speed, it goes in different directions. So one goes one goes the other. And off-road, that would have allowed us much better turning circles. But that's an opportunity missed. But let's keep looking on. So this is a special green color that is on the first edition. Edition 1, that's going to do my nuts. And as we look inside, obviously you've got the top of the range sound system and everything blaring away in there. But you've got the chopped carbon, interior here. Let me just turn that down. I'm going to get demonetized. Right, so you've got the chopped carbon here. You've got these sort of bucket style seats. Now I think this is not the leather seats. I need to check. I think leather seats are actually an option. You've also got this funky little dash end with the Edition 1 graphic. I would have liked it if they'd have put OCTA on the sill plates. The James Bond edition had 007 graphics there. I wonder what the projector headlights do. Oh, so this is the Meridian sound system. That's pumping away. You've got this sort of chromy edge here. But I do like this green color. So you can see it's a gloss green, but they put a PPF film on the exterior. So it's sort of matte finish on the outside, which I think looks really cool. So on the side graphic, we've got this signature panel, and they've color-coded this, but they've added this OCTA symbol. So that's probably a good time to take a break and talk about OCTA. So we all know that the Range Rover had the SV, we've got the SVR, the SV Sport, and that is the premium performance luxury sub-brand of Range Rover, if you like, the SV special vehicles. And they've clearly wanted to sort of separate the brands. You've got Range Rover and Land Rover, or Range Rover and Defender. And they've developed this whole new sub-brand for Defender called the OCTA. So expect to see more cool stuff under the OCTA banner. And probably we will never see the SVX Defender or the SV Defender that perhaps we were thinking. I think this is it. Right, well, we're on the side. Take a look at this. Now, you might say, yeah, that's the Expedition roof rack. Nothing new, nothing cool about that. I'll put a screenshot on the screen. Land Rover used to tell you, and we used to get a lot of people writing to us about this, saying you can't fit a roof rack if you've got a V8. And they're like, why? Is it somehow the roof different? But no, it was the performance, and I don't think they had it type approved. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I asked the guys, I said, oh, so now it's got a monster V8 600, now you can fit a roof rack. How's that even work? And they're like, oh, well, you can and you can't. So they've obviously had this type approved, but they couldn't get it type approved when it was in its most savage mode. So when you press the steering wheel button, well, look at this, there's a button at the bottom of the steering wheel that's got an OCTA logo. If you press that, it goes into some hype beast OCTA mode. And you can have it like set up for extreme off-road, for driving across fields and stuff. And they say, it apparently comes up with a warning and says, no, you can't put a roof rack. You'll have to take your stuff off the roof if you're gonna use the beast mode. So there's a warning while you're racing with your roof tent. Be careful. So take a look. So this is the back of you've got the wide arches at the back. You've got this sort of wide arch over the fuel cap. We've also got this new sort of infill panel here with this new graphic. This is different to the standard Defender. You've got these gold colored tow hooks. I think they missed an opportunity here for CNC machine, because even if you look at them, after time they get a little bit crusty. They're just cast iron, which is a little bit crude. You've also got this new super tough finish they were telling us about, which is some sort of super durable. It's a shame they didn't take the opportunity to go over the edge, which is where you're most likely to get damaged. Right, back down here, you'll notice we've got these monster quad exhausts. So I think they've probably got an active exhaust flap, like we saw on the SVR, and you can press a button, it goes wow. But one thing I'm glad to see back in the fold, and bear in mind this car, I haven't mentioned this yet, this car starts at like £168,000, but we spec'd one, the edition one is about £180,000. But look, for £180,000, look what we've got back. Our old friend, the soft close, is back with us. This is something I've just noticed. Look, now we had to do this on our light bar rear bumper. So this is the first time I've seen the scallop out of the rear bumper. Now that is because the tyres, now it's taking bigger tyres with the wider arches, that it's now so close under here. So if you think you can fit these wheels and tyres on your standard Defender, you're going to need to change your bumper. I'm glad to see is one thing we developed that was a real pain in our Defender was the interior light are here and here. And as soon as you'd put anything in, there was no light. They've now added an interior light at the top here, which is super cool. There's a lot of blackness going on the interior. Notice you've got this little box of tricks here. Now, but it did say it had the air compressor, but this isn't the air compressor. I think this is part of the hybrid control. I'll check with the guys here about that. But you get a brushed insert here. Again, I would have liked a bit more OCTA branding here. I mean, we love Defender, but we could have bigged up the Edition 1. I don't think the roof rack comes as standard, and I don't think the ladder comes as standard. Now, if you are speccing a roof rack, they do look cool, and they are really good if you've got a roof tent, but they do give some roof noise. Now, when I was speccing this, I said, well, look, I'll probably put the roof rack on here, but it's got a panoramic sunroof. And I was going, well, I don't really need, there's not a lot. I don't want to see the underside of my roof rack. And they said, actually, you can't spec it without. You can't have an Edition 1 with a roof rack and without a sunroof. Pop the bonnet open and take a look. Now, as I suspected, there's quite a lot of plastic, but you can see there's a lot of engine rammed in. But you can see here why they've gone for the twin snorkels. You've got an air intake and an air filter on the left. You've got an air intake and an air filter on the right going up through. That's absolutely awesome. I love the symmetry of the twin snorkels. Check, this color is a limited edition, and this is the Faro or Faro green. Now it comes with this no cost option on the Edition 1. of this matte PPF film. Now, the matte they've used, the last edition models, they've used a satin wrap, but this is matte, so it's a much matter, flatter colour. Right, we've also just checked up on this box here. So this box here is actually the rear air conditioning box. And we're having some debate, but I think we can still fit. And it would have been nice to have the air compressor built in as standard. You know, if you've got these monster off-road tyres that they're advertising, obviously for optimum grip, you want to reduce the air pressure in those when you're in sand or other things. But right, let's go and take a look at a bit more of the inside. First thing you'll notice when you're sat in the Defender OCTA is you've got this new steering wheel. So we've got this two-tone, but this is the real Badger, this here. Now I can't demonstrate it fully because the engine's not running, but a short press will put you in dynamic mode. So remember, this car is sort of like a Jekyll and Hyde. It's awesome on the road because of the 6D suspension. I think I said 6S earlier, but the 6D suspension, where you've got those hydraulic, it limits the amount of body roll, which is awesome. But if you do a long press on it, then you get in the optimized off-road mode. So that gives you maximum travel on the wheels. So that changes that 6D suspension to suit all the things for really racing across the off-road environment. And when you go into the dynamic mode, the short press, these paddle shifters here are backlit. So I don't know if you can see from that angle there, but you can see the minus and the plus here, this backlit. They all go red, the dials change. And let's take a look at some of the options we get on the infotainment screen. Right, so we've got the larger 11-inch screen, and there's a couple of things you'll notice. One thing you'll notice, we've got this OCTA panel. And this here is the exhaust button. So when we were looking at the exhaust earlier, so this is the one that opens up the exhaust valve, okay? And then if you click through, you get into the dynamic mode settings where you can have a lap timer, a stopwatch, and you can also do the setup. So you can take the factory default, or you can optimize the suspension for different settings. If you want, you can go more comfort or more dynamic. So you can play with these as you like. One of the other cool new features they've got on this OCTA, it's not all about speed. Again, this car is a Jekyll and Hyde, and the Defender is that in so many ways. They've got this body and soul seat. And this is a sound system that they've designed specially. And you can change between having calm, and they've written their own music tracks, and it plays it. And in the seats, you'll notice the seats here, they've got this new seat design, and there's actually speakers and things in there, and you get a sort of sense from there. It's sort of multi-sensual, okay? But you can change your mood from calm to invigorated, which is, I don't know if you want to be invigorated, I'm not sure, but if your passenger doesn't want to be invigorated, we can actually turn them off. Maybe it would have been good if we could have had a calm passenger and an invigorated driver, but that maybe you need to be in synergy. So you'll notice the dials are now they're not silver, they're this sort of shadow black chrome, and that follows through all here. One new feature, this isn't OCTA specific, this is just new Defender, is they've got this really funky, where we used to just have the panel here, you've now got this sort of secret storage bin, whatever you want to call it. You'll notice the wireless charging tray has changed. Again, this isn't OCTA specific. Where it used to be flat, you can now get a bigger phone in, and it sits in there. There we go. We've got the fridge in the OCTA to keep our drinks all chilled, which is really good. So I think that's pretty much the OCTA done. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of car. You know, is it going to be the last? Is this be the fastest Defender? A full electric Defender could be faster, but the last petrol monster V8 Defender, it's going to be the last of a line, I'm pretty sure. But there we go, contact your dealer. We're not sure whether we'll get one or not. It's a lot of money. Will there be like an OCTA welcome screen? Again, this is still not quite production ready, but you can start to see what it's going to look like. Any questions, ask me below. Right, hope you enjoyed that.